Coach Gavin's here, coming to you today, pre-pie pan. I pre-pie pan did it myself before I ever got on here. So that's why I got the tinfoil on head so CRT rays cannot get in and object with what Coach Gavin be talking about. Yeah, what I figured, I just lay out the case today. Lay out the case, and let's see if you make a waste on the case. What is that in my? Oh no, that's just something else. Got on that old nasty thing again today. I'm sorry. I will cover it up with the green. Got the green, the mean, and the green. Anyway, sort of makes Coach Catfish fit in. Makes my face look like camouflage. I got the camouflage that did the face. Anyway, that's not what Coach Catfish is here to talk to you about today. I think we need to talk in the glove. The glove is what holds us and molds us. And plus it's made out of critter hides. At least it should be. Yeah, it's not so much. Anyway, it's not for me. Nah, bad glove. I get the real one. See, Coach Catfish, the way I deal with the gloves, 17. Yes, we got our 17. Our Egyptian, that is our call out to our Egyptian number for the day. Anyway, Coach Catfish got this here glove, and this is all cow. And remember, the scrotum bag, you must use the scrotum bag because with every steak you eat, you think about it. You do not want to waste 1 inch of hide. Duh. Anyway, Coach Catfish has something. 1:30. Yes, my face is not dirty yet, even though I done let the chickens out. It's something to talk about. So this is very interesting. Well, what did Coach come up on Coach Catfish's YouTube feed? It's something I had been talking about. It had to do with an efficiency thing and about scaling. You see, not everything scales exactly the same. And that's what scaling is a very important circumstance when you're talking about physics and you're talking about scaling up. Like you may be able to make a little model or something, but so you scale that thing up within a gravitational field or something, and it may not work when it is much larger. So you cannot always scale everything, but for the most part, lots of this stuff is scale. And especially the fishes, the fishes very scale. And there's scaly fishes, and that's the only kind of Coach Catfish eat, is kind that's got the fins and the scales. Now, how did I get there? Oh, I know how I got there. No, it wasn't to E.T. or nothing like that. What the hell was it? Oh. Let me take an apple break. Oh, I know what it was. That's AI. AI. I try to talk with my left hand today so I can operate it off of my right side of the brain. The AI thing. Now, let me tell you a little story. Now, I may have told parts of it before. Now, Coach Catfish, when I got all up in here, this stuff, I was 13 years old, 12, 13, 14, whatever it was when I was in 7th grade. And it was 8th grade. It was in some school. When I was working on going to that projector lab where you learned a little bit about computers. And the first thing I learned about computers is I could go on and do this here script thing and put in my things here and push a button. It's like, oh, it's magic. There's somebody in there. There's little people in there doing something like Wizard of Oz. The monkeys, flying monkeys must be up in there. No, you people believe anything. But Coach Catfish saw that, and then the next year, we got into the coding. We got started coding. And then what I found out was, well, hell, there weren't no little flying monkeys up in there. It was just ones and zeros. And then I realized, well, hell, all you're doing is analoging this to that and then putting in filters. And it's just foolish. It's foolish. This machine is foolish. It's foolishness. And that's when Coach Catfish decided, well, hell. Well, actually, I put it on the back burner for a while. I just thought it was foolishness. So I was not interested in a computer thing. That's people trying to get you interested in certain things back in that day. Thank goodness that sucker's recording, because I could not do this twice. 414, that is not an engine, so I would not keep it clean. But what it was I was very, very disillusioned with what they call computing. And when I finally realized, well, hell, I've been doing electronics since I was a little boy. And I finally put them two things together and realized, well, you're just chasing your tail. This is here gates, this is open here, and this dude's out there. And it's just logic, it's just gates. You open the flow here and it goes there. And so you can do water flow on all this here stuff and actually do analog computing. But that's not very efficient. Because this requires a lot of energy, and when you can use kind of stuff we got like the CMOSs and the HEMOSs and the submicron type etchings that we do, You got some powerful stuff. But back in the day, hey, it was bad. And that's what was disillusional to me. And I was supposed to like go on through life thinking that, well, hearing more and more stuff about computers and realizing, well, hell, it's talking about AI and all this artificial intelligence. And I'm like, no, Coach Cavendish, we haven't even got our intelligence up yet. Our intelligence is still quite primitive. And there's another thing. And that's why I was like, no, I do not like the ones and zeros. So what I did is I went into the physics thing. I had been thinking about it, and learning atomic physics, and learning the quantum mechanics, and learning the statistical things, and learning about vectors and how vector things happen, and learn about orthogonals that can be transformed over into spherical coordinates and stuff like that, and get your line on, sucker. And you understand why Coach Cavendish look like he do today. Because that kind of stuff is running through my brain. And it still does, just on the back channels. I got to keep this here open for what's happening in front of me. Anyway, about time I was ready to get into the university and stuff, I had decided, I had already come up with an idea. I had an idea about how to do something about this here stuff. And somehow, what started me on this here whole thing today is I watched this here video. Now, there's something about Coach Cavendish you do not know. I call myself a purist, and I'm not sure what that is exactly. But what I think it means, if it's not inside of you, it is not yours. In other words, if this is not an idea that sort of comes out of you, the whole thing is not yours. So I do not believe in going and reading about everybody else's ideas and stuff, and then coming up with your own. What I believe in is using a foundational thing, which is why I chose physics and mathematics and engineering stuff, to be my basis of reality on top of the faith. Without the faith, all this here stuff would have been a moot point, because you can see where it's going anyway. But with faith, it gives you hope. So anyway, we don't want to mix it too much. So what I saw was, hell, if you could just take sentences, and Coach Cavendish hated, even though I write poetry and stuff, I hated dealing with sentences, because I just did. Hell, you start spelling this here that way, and you got this here other language that does that. So languages was not consistent across a large swath of languages. So how in the hell could we use languages to do anything? Well, that's a whole different story. Because Cavendish had thought about, it has to be a language that's pictorial. It has to be a language with boundaries. And, I did not know about the Hebrew and stuff and all that kind of situation. But what I was looking for was a simple thing. And I heard it did it this morning. That's why I'm doing this here video. Is I was looking for a way to mathematically deal with sentences to where you could do like changes of yes or no's, just in knowing what you had just done with the value of what you had just done. And what Coach Cavendish did not realize is, well, hell, this is a model that they have been working off of for years. And hell, I thought about that and sitting in a driveway in 1983. I was sitting in a driveway waiting for this grammar teacher. This lady that taught this here stuff I did not like, because I always assumed I'd have a secretary to help me with things that I did not know. And I was going to look to her and tell her my theory of, if you could just put value on sentences and words, then you could predict what would happen. Well, hell, Coach Cavendish looked at this here show this morning, and it said, well, that's what they do. That's actually sort of how they do it, which actually made perfect sense. Now, the thing where the deviation goes, well, that's foolishness. That's still just dealing with foolishness that I say. Because what I'd come up with was a thing called archetype logic. And what it does is it uses an orthogonal logic scape, which is, you got 8 inputs to get 1 output. And that's basically what it is. And the thing about it, it uses a different type of math altogether to get these here things entered. What it does, it takes and looks at each of these coordinate systems. You look at the coordinates, and what you do is you turn the coordinates into spherical. You turn it into the spherical coordinates because you need the spherical coordinates. And then what you do is you take each of them, the part of that sphere, in its eight different areas, and you give it a value that will be obtained through some situation. Well, you're using for you're using the synthesis, the mass synthesis, and the Fourier and linear algebra. And you take that stuff, and that's how you get your coordinates and put in your systems into that one single sphere. And then whatever that is, this sphere will be integrated equal to a differential integration of each of these spherical areas on this here sphere on the surface. And then the outcome will be what you're looking for. It's archetyping. In other words, it works through complete concepts all at once. It does not mess around with that linear ones and zeros, because they ain't my heroes. It uses a slightly higher form of the mathematics. Anyway, that's what all Coach K say. You know, I just didn't, I thought it was stupid, gotta say it 3 times to get paid, to use this here linear process in making logic statements. Because hell, I was already doing that in secretary, and doing my Boolean, boo, 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 boo. It's like ghostly, right, ghostly, the Boolean algebra. Anyway, that's all Coach K is here to say. It's a better way of doing it. And for some odd reason, they just got the people stuck on this other stuff. And the nice thing about the archetype and logic and the way this is set up is you can use optical. You can use optical. You can use BECs. You can use all these things and come up with dealing with concepts all at once instead of these here drip. It's like using solid fuel rockets when you got ET maneuvers. Coach Capish out. I don't know what to say. I just wanted to tell you. Hell, I've been looking at this here stuff for... Yes, that is him calling me. 40 years. And I do not understand why other people just do not see it. But I do not go and look at other people's work. Because if I did, it would influence me. It'd be like dealing with occasions where you look into something and you got a possibility of interfering just because the fact is, did you look at it as the Heisenberg? The Heisenberg is like the iceberg. To me, anyway. Because I believe if it is not in you, maybe you just don't need to express it. And even if it is, sometimes you just don't need to express it. Because it's just too powerful. Because give a shout. Yeah. I got the 10-4. Sometimes you need it. Well, I praise y'all, though. I praise y'all. And I look for better days for the people. Because this here stuff is too much. It's just too much. We haven't even got us right yet. Until we get us right, I do not think we need even calculators hardly. We just barely need our fingers. Oh, go give us out.